Okay, so I'm going to ask you this. There's two solutions. One with a pH of 1, one with a pH of 4. Which of the following options are true? Okay? The solution with a pH of 4 is 3 times more basic. Yes?
Yes.
No. Remember, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 steps. But this scale, every step you take, you multiply by 10. Right? So that should be not 30 times. 10, 10, 10. 10 times 10 times 10. How many times is more alkaline? 1,000 times. So if the option says it has 1,000 times more hydroxide than the other solution, is that right? Look, all right. What makes things a base? Something is a base if it has more hydroxides. Something is an acid if it has more hydrogen ions, right? So if I have 1 and 3 options, stop it when I say something that is true. That solution 3 is 2 times more alkaline. Is that true? No. It's 2 steps, but each step is what? So how many times would be more alkaline? 100 times. But they might not give you that option straight away. They might change the way it's worded. So for example, they might say it has 100 times less hydrogen. Right? Because that means 100 times less acidic. Or you can say it has 100 times more hydroxide, which is basically the same way of saying 100 times more alkaline. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can say something is more alkaline, or you can say something has more hydroxide. It's the same thing. So you have to put in your brain it's interchangeable. More alkaline means more hydroxide. More acid means more hydrogen. So a solution has a pH of 4, and another solution has a pH of 8. Okay? So that's 7, 6, 5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. That's 10,000 times something. And the option says is 4 times more hydrogen. Is that right? No. No. It is 100 times less hydroxide. No, you know it's not 100 times. Forget that 100. You're confused by the number. Alright? They're right to say it's less hydroxide. But they're trying to confuse you. Because it's not 100 times less hydroxide. Then they say it's 1,000 times more hydrogen. 4 and 8. Yes. If I'm getting to acid, that means more hydrogen. So it's 10,000 times more hydrogen. Do you understand? I said 1,000 times, right? So she was right, it was no. But once I say 1,000 times more hydrogen, what does that mean? That's it. Or I can also say 10,000 times less hydroxide. Right? Remember, the pH scale is measuring that. By the way, on your pre-labs, I asked you the question, what does the pH scale actually measure? And people said acidity. No. What is it actually measuring? The concentration of what?
pH.
The concentration of what? Hydrogen. Exactly. It is actually measuring the concentration of hydroxide and hydrogen ions in the solution. Also, I in the pre-lab, please tell me, where is there more hydroxide, where is there more hydrogen? And instead of doing that, you draw a little picture that says 14, 11 in color. I didn't ask for that. I asked for, tell me which number means more acidic and which one means more acid, and tell me where is there going to be more hydroxide, where is there going to be more hydrogen. The majority of you just copy from each other and do the wrong thing. Please stop copying pre-labs. Do it on your own and actually answer the questions. I asked for the pre-lab. How many times more acidic is 1 than 3? How many times more acidic is 1 than 3? 2 steps. Each step times 10. 100 times more acidic. But in the pre-lab, you just said it's more acidic. That's not what I asked. I asked how many times more acidic. Pay attention to the question. That goes for the test too. Sometimes they'll throw a question that's right, but it's not answering the question. Understand? You have to pay attention to what the question is asking. The option that answers the question is the option you're going to go to. Okay? Now, although not this time, you don't have to pick questions. You have the 50 questions, and this is the question you have to do. Alright? You still have to be smart, because you're going to have 1 hour to do 50 questions, plus 2 essays. It's not enough time. Okay? It is not enough time. So what are you going to be doing here? You're still going to pick questions. Because you cannot waste your time with, you spend 3 minutes in the question and then you get it wrong. Was that worth it?
No.
No. So you're going to skip everything you don't know to go back to it later. You have to answer all the questions. Because all of them count. Right? But if you practice your essay, you know the essays. Right? So you can get those grades by doing that essay really quick. But time yourself. Don't find yourself spending more than 10 minutes per essay. Because it's going to screw up if you do that. Right? Practice at home so you can write down those essays in less than 10 minutes. So you have 2 essays to write each in 10 minutes. That use 40 minutes to answer as many of the 50 questions as you can. If you answer about 40 questions, plus do the 2 essays really well, you're going to kick ass. Because remember the AP curve. You've got 25 questions right, you're going to see. Right? So that means you're shooting for like 30, 40 questions right, you're going to end. Okay? But you need to answer all the questions, but the more you get, the better. Okay? And I'm very proud of you for being here today to get the overview. Is there anything, any key terms your student need to review a little bit more? Yes?
The graph, the hexagonic graph.
Okay, let's do that 2 seconds really quick. Hexagonic graph, let's see. Alright, so. Oh yeah, that is a question in the test too. Which side of the reaction are usually the products? Left side. Where are the reactants? The right side. Right? Unless they do this to you, just to screw you over. Who are the reactants? Who are the reactants? That is becoming this. Who's the reactants? Oxygen and sugar. Always follow the arrow. Reactants is what becomes the products, right? Anyways, what's happening here? You have more energy at the start, which means the reactants have a lot of energy, and the products have less energy, which means you lost energy. Yes? Oh, remember a question. Don't take it for answer that question. This is a test question. Okay? Delta G is final minus initial level of energy. Right? My final energy is lower than my initial energy. So this is going to be a negative number. Yes? So if the delta G is less than 0, that means it's an exergonic reaction. Because one thing about it, I had more energy when I started, less energy when I ended. So I lost energy. The energy went out to the environment, exergonic. Right? What kind of reaction does that? When you're building something or when you're destroying something? Will that happen naturally? Yes. But will it happen fast? Unless you have an enzyme. How do the enzymes work? They lower the activation. How do they do that? Creating a perfect environment in the active site for the reaction to take place. I think that's part of the essay. I forgot to mention that. Right? It's part of the essay. It's part of the enzyme assay. How do enzymes work? Okay? Yes.